Preparing to go. All right, the meeting is being live streamed. All right, I believe we are now live.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being here, Mya-Lisa. And
Sure.
it's been such a pleasure to get to work with you over the mentorship and see you grow so much. And I'd love to hear from you kind of where you were when you signed up for it. Like, what were you hoping to get from it? What were your challenges? You know, what inspired you to sign up?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that. But it's interesting because what maybe led me there was so much more that I gained from it than I didn't even expect in the beginning. So I had been working with one of your former students, Jessica, and she had, and really we had been through working together some very traumatic issues that I had gone through that were then in my body, and working through those really opened up this whole new world for me. And that whole new world I wanted to learn so much more about. And that's when the mentorship came up. And I didn't even know exactly what we'd be learning, but I knew you were a healer. I knew I had to learn more about self-healing, and I really wanted to just explore all the avenues and journeys that were available to me now that this part of me was broken open.
I love that. I'm going to hit record really quick too. One second. And Jessica was great. She was like the reason I started the first mentorship. It's beautiful that you're working with her. And so all of these parts have been broken open. You knew you wanted to learn more about self-healing and explore that world. And what did you find in the mentorship? Did you find that self-healing you're looking for? And
yeah, so absolutely. I think that one of the things, or a couple of things, I'm going to have so many. There are going to be a lot on this list, Abby. But a couple of the things that were really fundamental for everything else to build on was being in my own body, like really working from this space of myself and where things were happening in my body, whether it was something uncomfortable, some trauma, or whether it was trying to make a decision about something and going to your body to decide whether you wanted to do it or not. And it was just, for me, such an easier way to access my intuition and my guidance, which I guess I didn't realize that it could be that simple.
Yeah, how simple it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that all connected with the connection with the earth, which was, it all made sense suddenly, because I had been working on that sort of feeling or being aware of that connection with the earth through my time with Jessica. And then when I got into the mentorship, and you started every session with connecting with the light and bringing it right down to where you are plugging into the core of the earth, that really resonated with me. And it continues to be one of the most powerful visualizations I can do.
I love that. And it's so simple.
So simple, but so beautiful.
I love that. And with this journey you've been on, do you mind if I ask a little bit about kind of with your work? I know you weren't sure how to be present at work. There's a little bit of frustration. And I know that now you're doing all of these different things with work.
Yeah.
Can we speak a little bit to that journey in the beginning where I remember you're just kind of like, I don't know what to do or if I should stay there. And I mean, you're a medical doctor, which is amazing. It's just beautiful.
What's that?
And like the work that you do, being a doctor, is beautiful.
With doctors. Yeah, work with doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were right there, Abby, with all my angst about these couple of days I'm doing at work at a hospital. And I was really at that time going through I don't know if that's what I'm meant to be doing. What should I be doing? First of all, a lot of pressure on myself. I should be doing this, I shouldn't be doing this. What's my path? This sort of really limited thinking, this idea that's kind of rigid, which I come by naturally. So this is what I've been working on for a long time. But the work with you, so in the mentorship, just these exploring of all these areas, really this exploration into all the shamanic journeying and all the different things we did, really kept taking me back to sort of this foundational space that I could access this when I was in my heart space, which we worked on as well. And when I was out of my head, when I was really being present, rather than my constant planning. I'm always planning my escape route. If someone breaks into this house, I'm always planning or ruminating over something that happened yesterday. And when I can find the quiet and stillness there, that's when I can access these other beautiful creative outlets. And I started to realize that. So when we were working with you, and then I also have this great experience of having a member of the community, Beth, whom I still work with. We work with regularly, and she's wonderful. And she has this great ability of bringing in energy and making a still spot. And then when we were in the mentorship class, that was the same thing, that we had this, between the visualizations you did, between the energy of the group, it was easy to be still. But I started realizing that this is what I want to really study, this sort of stillness. I want to really understand it and practice it. And that, along with just big synchronicities, led me to, and things that I learned about being in the heart space in the mentorship group, really led me to understanding that mindfulness was something that was really foundational to me, and that sort of meditation. And then that just, I don't even think I meant to at first. I was just learning about it. And then those around me wanted to learn about it. And then those at the hospital needed it. And it's such a time of heightened anxiety, I think, and stress and overwhelm, that it caused people to reach out about that. And I started to realize how much I really enjoy helping people on that piece of the journey.
That's beautiful. I love that. And then you were invited because you're doing workshops on mindfulness at the hospital right now. Yeah. Amazing. And then, do you mind if I share that you were recently invited to speak?
No, that's all right.
Yeah, to speak on mindfulness to a room full of 700 medical personnel, to teach them how to, like, to go from being frustrated at this, like, I don't know if I should be here, what I should do. Now you're like speaking to 700 medical professionals about mindfulness.
I know.
Amazing.
And it really was, what's amazing to me is that the journey, it's just so amazing that the journey keeps unrolling, keeps going in these beautiful directions. And I can be ruminating about, oh, this hasn't happened yet, I haven't done this, I haven't made a decision on that. Or I can just watch it unfold. It doesn't mean I can't participate in or make decisions. And I remember this great exercise you did in class, the one where you go forward and see yourself 5 years in the future, 2 years in the future, 1 year in the future, whatever. And one of the ones was being out in nature. One of the ones, so I saw it and I was like, oh, great, what a relief. The future has a plan. I don't have to spend my time worrying about, am I doing enough? Am I doing it right? And then I also understood that the future can change. You can take different paths, and that's all beautiful too. But then come to find out, some of those are just being unveiled now as we speak and coming to fruition.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I love that. Yeah, I remember you talking about that and talking about how nature was so, like, the trees were there to work with you and to help you. And then weren't you later doing like this workshop amongst the trees or planning?
Like mindfulness meditation out in the forest. Yeah.
And like that was literally a scene that you saw in your future.
And
And
that
then it
was
was happening.
exactly. That was before I knew I was going to get involved in mindfulness
Yeah.
meditation.
Incredible. It's so interesting tuning into those future scenes. It's like it doesn't always make sense, but then you just find yourself there and then, oh, that's I get it now. But it's like opens up the door to that. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So cool. So cool. What would you say would be like the biggest thing that you took away from the
I
mentorship?
think I think it was really the going to the heart, like thinking or not thinking, experiencing from the heart center. Because before the class, I really thought of that as a metaphor, like to go with your heart.
Mm.
When we did the exercises around that, multiple, one in particular, one of our first classes was going right into the heart space to ask your questions. I started to understand that, at least experientially for me, it's a very literal thing. I'm going somewhere else other than my thinking brain, sort of that egoic brain, to a different part of me that's housing a different wisdom.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah.
Yeah. And that changes a lot of things about how you make decisions, how you interpret events, how you deal with adversity, I think.
Mm. How has that changed how you handle situations? Being able to connect in from that part of your wisdom there.
So I think my go-to is to, because again, a planner, a thinker, a fixer, is to go to my head and ruminate and obsess over it till I get everything fixed. And it's really interesting. I still do that, go there naturally. But then to remember that there are these other avenues available to me, and to let the brain keep doing what it's doing, but drop into my heart center and really access the wisdom from there. It's a very still space. It's a lot like doing mindfulness meditation exercise. And then I actually physically or visualize a physical dropping up into that, being in that space, and then make those sort of decisions from there, or interpret events from there. I mean, it changes my perspective on everything. Suddenly what I thought I wanted to fix is actually something maybe I didn't want to fix. Or it gives me a different perspective entirely. It's like when I go into that thinking mind, my brain is perseverating on what this thing was, the one small detail of it. And when I'm in my heart space, I can see it in such a much more broad angle.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. So much more expanded there. I feel like the heart can like handle so much more understanding and wisdom where it's not so rigid like the mind.
Right, exactly. And it can take all those emotions and still have lots of space.
Totally. Yeah. It's amazing. That's beautiful. I love that. And then, so you worked a bit with Jeanette too. So Jeanette came in and did some
Yes,
Qigong with
it's
us.
wonderful.
What was,
Yeah.
yeah, what was that like for you? I know she helps a lot of people with like feeling their physical health and their energy. What was that like for you working with her?
That was wonderful. Jeanette is a wealth of information.
Yes.
And she has just the most intuitive way of going into whatever you say the issue is, fatigue or an injury or something like this. And she does her work on her end, but energetically. But then also assigning you the qigong that really will help you work through it. And I thought that was amazing and really helped center me. So I think that's the other piece of it, is it's not just working on whatever injury or trial or tribulation you brought to her, but also is centering you in general.
Yeah. Beautiful. And centering, what does centering look like to you?
Centering looks like a balanced place of coming to this. So when I worked with Jeanette, we worked on a couple different things. But when I worked with her on fatigue, which I don't have a lot of fatigue, but I was dealing with it at that particular time. Um, it felt like after we did our work together and when I did our exercises, not only did the fatigue begin to alleviate, but it waxed and it waned for a little while before it got better. But even when it was waxing and I was feeling it more prominently, I would still have this this balance about it, like this acceptance and this interest in it, this curiosity about it, rather than this like, oh, I'm tired again, now what? And I've got so many things to do this afternoon and this isn't going to work. I
Yeah.
think that the work she did helped balance the whole spirit, not just that thing we were working on.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I found that to be such a powerful force for healing and breaking, like coming out of that pattern when the mind's not like, oh, because I've been there, where it's like, I'm just, feeding it.
Yeah, yeah,
Versus,
exactly.
yeah. Yeah. And then getting curious about it, being with it. But it's like that gradual moving out of it. Yeah. And I love that you mentioned that too. It's not always like a boop done. It's just like, we're coming out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's beautiful. All right, one more question. How do you feel about the growth that you've experienced over these last few months?
With the mentorship group changed everything. I mean, the growth that I had within that group, I mean, it went from, I can't even, I don't even think I can articulate how much happened. I feel almost like I'm a different person than I was at the beginning of that journey. I sometimes can't even remember the person who was talking to you in the class, Abby, about all that resistance about work.
Mm.
I mean, it seems like I just have so many more tools. So in a practical way, I guess, I have a lot of tools that can help me with things. But then in maybe a more spiritual journey way, not sure if that's quite the way to say it, but I just feel like using all those tools and doing so within a community and continuing to do so has brought me to a different place, an entirely different place.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, you aren't that person anymore.
No.
You're becoming a new person all the time. And it's so amazing to see you grow. And it's been such a pleasure to be like, to share in part of your journey with you, because the energy that you bring is so much lightness and curiosity and openness. And yeah,
Well,
beautiful.
Abby, I can't thank you enough for this, for the mentorship class. The amount of joy, I think, is the other piece that I really would like to mention. So just that joy of discovery,
Mm.
and then the joy that comes with being at this place where, yeah, like some of the growth is really hard. Some of it is not fun. Some of it makes me cry.
Yeah.
But in general, there's an underlying joy for being on this path that feels so pervasive now.
Mm.
So
I love that you speak to that. Thank you for sharing that. I love that too. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful place to discover so much more constantly. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to sign us off of Facebook. Let's see here. I'm going to stop our live.